Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're safe and well. It's been nearly 2 weeks, I think, in lockdown now. I think we're all going a bit stir crazy. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a drawing challenge. Something that I thought you might like to do, something that's going to be quite easy for you to get hold of, materials you're not going to need that many of, and hopefully you've got pretty much all of it around the house. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to draw this. Taken from a photograph. I was going out for one of my walks that I'm allowed on once a day for some exercise. Took some photos while I was going round. You may well have flowers in your garden, so it's nice and easy for you. And this is the picture that I took. You can see it's got a grid on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip the camera around so that you can see what I'm doing and show you how to draw it, just give you a few techniques, just a few ideas and tips. And I'd really love it if at the end you could send in what you've done and show me how you got on. Okay, I'm just going to move the camera around now. Hang on a sec. Okay, so you'll see from this that there is a grid on this. What the grid does is it really helps you to make sure that everything's in the right place, that the proportions are right, everything is as you need it. I've drawn the lines on fairly thick here. When you go onto your piece of paper, it's really important that you don't draw them very heavy, that you draw them fairly light so that you can rub them out, because you are going to need to rub them out. And particularly if you've got a light coloured flower, what you don't want are horrible lines from the grid at the end. Pencil I'm using, for the first part, I'm just using a 2B pencil. You may only have a HB around. If that's all you've got, then that's absolutely fine for this part. But a 2B just gives you a bit more of scope because you get a slightly broader range of tones with a 2B pencil. So what I've done here is I've basically measured along 5 centimeters at a time. So I'm just going to do that here. So 5, 10, 15, 20, exactly the same at the top. 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I'm going to start from the bottom and I'm going to do the same thing again. So again, 5. Take care to make sure that this is done as accurately as you can, because the more accurate it is, the more accurate your drawing is going to be. So this part is actually really, really important. I'm just going to start here so I can see the numbers. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and it goes up to 30 naturally. So as I said, with this, draw your lines on really, really finely so you can barely see them, because you are going to have to rub them out. So it's really important. There we go. Okay, so horizontally and vertically, get those lines drawn on nice and lightly so we can see them nice and clearly, but you can't see them if you rub them out, so that they're nice and removed when you finish drawing. So last one there. Now that grid needs to be exactly the same as a grid that you do on your photograph. Okay, what you may find is your A4 paper isn't quite 5 centimeters at the top there. So make sure you always start from the bottom when you're measuring. So 5, 10, 15, 20, and then start from here rather than there, to make sure that this grid looks exactly the same as that grid. Okay, that's really important. Now it's basically more of a mathematical problem than it is really a drawing program at this stage. What you need to do is, first of all, decide if you're left or right-handed, which place you start. If I'm left-handed, so I'm going to start over here on the right. If you're right-handed, obviously start on the left, so that you're not dragging your hand across work that you've already done. That's really important. Okay, so I'm going to start with the biggest flower, if you like, here, which is 1, 2, 3, starts 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. And it starts, if I come over here and I can show you, that's the line that I'm going to try and get. Now that's about 1 centimetre up. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going about 1 centimetre up, which is there. And if you like, you can just plot the points. I'm just going to go, if I put them next to each other, hopefully you'll be able to see fairly well. And I'm going to press really, really lightly with my pencil until I'm happy. And that comes to about there, which comes to about there in the same place. That I've got exactly the right shapes, in the right places. Don't press too hard at this stage, because again, if you need to rub it out, and I'm just going to measure there to there, is the same as about there to there, so that comes to about there, and it goes up there, comes over the top of there, and then comes down. If you need to rub it out, you can do at this stage, and it's not going to look horrible. You're not going to have loads of horrible lines that you don't really want at the end. There we go. So I'm just going to do a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to show you how to shade it. So I'm just drawing this bit here, if you can see. You may well be back to front to me. Let's finish that up there. And you've got the bit in the middle. And you can have a look. Is that about right? It's a little bit far over. So you can just take that back. And you know that that doesn't come quite as far as there. And then you can rub it out if you need to with a decent rubber. But you can't see the original lines, which is really what we want. Again, just keep measuring. So where that bit is there, it's about there. So I'm just going to take that up to there, goes around there, down, and that comes about there. So you can work out where things need to be, and it's okay if you don't get it right perfectly the first time. The whole point is that you get practiced at this so that you know. There we go. I'm just going to do that part, and I'm going to do the little bit here. It starts up there, and that wiggly bit's there. Inside, that on there, and it goes round, etc. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is how to shade it. Hoping that you can see this well. Again, I'm going to use a 2B pencil on this bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub out the lines before I start shading, when I'm happy that I have the right proportions. There we go. I'm going to start off with the darker bits, and then I'm going to go for the lighter bits. Down here, it's darker. What I don't want you to do is smudge with your finger if you can help it. What you need to do is use your pencil. Let that do the work for you. You've got quite a range with a pencil, so don't go in too hard, don't go in too light, and don't smudge with your finger. When you need to go from dark to light, you can do it gradually. The good thing about a 2B pencil is it gives you a fair amount of scope. I'll talk about the harder pencils a bit later. Start with the darker areas. Now here you can see you've got a bit of shadow there, but it's quite light. It's not really dark. So just take it up like that. Show where the lighter areas are, show where the darker areas are. Now with this particular picture, the background is darker than the foreground. So all of these bits are darker than the actual flowers. You can see I'm just literally leaving the areas that are white to themselves and just shading the shaded areas, the bits that are slightly darker. Get out of your head that it's a flower. It's a series of shapes, and it's a series of light and dark areas. And if you can do that, then you'll have a much better chance of having a successful drawing, because you'll forget what a flower looks like, and you'll just use it as, right, that bit is darker than the bit next to it. So I'm going to shade that like so. And this bit is light. It just has a few little lines in it. So I'm just going to do a few little lines. But other than that, I'm not going to do too much to it. And I'm going to leave the rest white. The reason I can do that is because the background is darker. I'm going to use this, sorry, this is very tiny. It's all I have left. 6B pencil, which is much darker, much harder than a 2B. But what it allows you to do, if you have a look here, you can press hard and you can get much darker shades. And what that does, it allows you to not have to have a really heavy outline on your flower, which is a common mistake that a lot of people make, because the dark background, once you add that, gives you the definition of the shape. I just move that out of the way there. So you don't have to have a heavy cartoon outline on it, because the background will show up that part. I'm just going to come in a bit closer so you can see. And just carry on. Basically just keep going, keep getting lighter and darker tones. I'll just show you the original again that I drew And this is where I've started here. You can see the lighter and darker tones. Make it darker at the background, and then this will automatically pop out and you don't have to worry about having heavy cartoon outlines. And just see it as a series of light and dark areas to be drawn. Darker there, lighter there. Shade it, keep going with your pencil, keep it fairly smooth. Where it needs to go from lighter to darker, do it gradually. Start off light and keep adding slightly darker and darker areas with your pencil until you achieve the shade that you want. Just avoid going in too hard too quickly. All right, well, good luck. I hope you have a really lovely time drawing it, and send me in anything that you draw so I can have a look. All right, take care. See you soon. Bye.